Alright, can I start comment? Alright, hello and welcome to Racers Without Border International. We are here today, another Tuesday, another Constructors Championship event, this time on the circuit Brands Hatch, little tiny, small, twisty circuit in England. Quite enjoyable circuit for some, and a really good circuit for GT4 racing. In this race we are already in the second half of the Constructors Championship. Wait, is the race already on? You have to excuse my confusion, as there have been some mishaps in it. Yeah, wait, the race is already halfway through. How did that happen? But never mind, we will have to get on with what is now. So, 35 minutes remaining in our race one. Christopher Verstappen is in the lead, which is going to be a really good thing, really good for his championship. Currently with James Lacey looming in behind in second place and Emma Played in third. And where I'm looking, Radek Shula, our Constructors Championship leader, is down in fourth place behind Alasdair Clinch in Aston Martin. So you can already see Shula trying to go around the outside of Clinch. That's gonna be really hard. I don't think that's gonna be possible in the GT4s. But back to the topic, Shula, this is big for the championship as it's almost, I would say, a 20-point gain? Somewhere about 20-point gain for Christopher Verstappen. And that's exactly what he needs in a championship, because there aren't many races to go. If you look how much there is left, there's just these 3 events remaining. So it's just today and then 2 more weeks. And Christopher Verstappen needs all of the points he can get. So if you look at how the standings are, he's currently about 63 points behind Christopher Verstappen, Radek Shula. So these are going to be big gains for Verstappen, and he should keep the lead today and win this race if he wants to have any say in the championship, as Shula has been really dominant and really going a little bit wide. And maybe he can go now around the outside of the Aston Martin or Alasdair Clinch. But no, Clinch just hangs onto the inside line, does not give Shula any chance. And Brands Hatch, it's not so easy to get around another car when you don't have the inside line. The corners are just so unwinding. The style of the corners just does not help you with the outside lines. But yeah, for the championship, this is maybe throwing a spanner into the works. Our man in the third position in the championship, Samuel Kruger, he is down in 8th place, and I think at this point this might even be over for his championship chances, as there would have to be a miracle for Kruger to have anything to say, because his gap is at 120 points to the leader. So yeah, that's gonna be that would have to be a really big failure from Shula and Verstappen. You know, still Radek Shula holding onto the back of Alasdair Clinch in the Aston Martin with Aaron Arriday, his brand mate and teammate, looming behind. And this might, but still, it's looking good for Mercedes as the Constructors Championship leaders. The focal point of this championship being it's the team standings, not like in usual racing series where the standings for the individuals is the important part. And we are there, everyone is fighting for the Constructors crown, also for the individual championship in the end. Yeah, that's something you want to win as a driver, but as a team you want to get the Constructors. So we have a lapped car in Formula Alpine, disrupting the fight for 4th place, but Alasdair Clinch is holding on, and pit window has opened. Now this is going to be important for Stula or Clinch. Who decides to pit when? Because I think Radek could gain from this pit window, but it will be important if the undercut or overcut is the more powerful, and I would say even the overcut could be the powerful measure at this track. With temperatures under 20 degrees, the track is at 21. It will take a little bit of time to heat up the tires. Because we already have a McLaren leaving the pit lane, and this forces Alasdair Clinch to go a little bit wide mid corner. This gives opportunity to Radek Shula to go down the inside. Clinch misses his braking point tiny bit that runs him wide, but he manages to slot back into the position and cut off Radek Shula, but you can see the pressure is immense on Alasdair Clinch. So continuing out of the Indy section and onto the big circuit. Radek Shula is still stuck, almost glued to the back of the Aston Martin. From the onboard you can see how much he is trying, and he has the speed over Clinch, but not there enough speed to be able to throw the car down the inside into any corner. You can see Shula just looking everywhere, right side, left side, inside, outside, but opportunities are not presenting themselves so easily. Let's see some fights there further down the grid. Javier Evgeny defending himself from Damien Wilk, as Wilk decides to go into the pit lane. So did Samuel Kruger, and Evgeny will have a little bit of clean air. Back to these two. Our closest fight still on the track. I would have to say this is a good drive right now from Alasdair Clinch. We have seen him looming around the top 20 position, somewhere around the mid-teens, maybe closer to the top 10, but it seems like Brandside really suits his driving style and the combination of the car and driver. And he has managed to find himself up in 4th place, and it's going to be a really good points gain for Aston Martin. Brand that is currently at the not at the bottom, but at the back half of the Constructors Championship, currently in P7, just in front of BMW and Maserati, but they are really close, tight with the Porsche. With it just being about 60 points, oh, excuse me, 20 points between these two brands. It's going to be good points for the Aston Martin, but also for Porsche, as we have James Lacey in 2nd place. As Alasdair Clinch goes aggressive on the entry to the corner. But the Mercedes still in formation, Shula, Eriday and Koutnik. And as I'm looking through the cars, I'm not seeing the fourth Mercedes car for today, so it looks like it's only 3 drivers for them at this point. Going a little bit wide through the corner. We could see the car wobbled on the exit. You can just see how much he's pushing that Mercedes, trying to get by the Aston Martins. We have one of the Audis going wide. Just throwing a little obstacle into the path. And Schilla goes into the pit lane. Important part for this fight. Now let's see if he's going to get some clean air on the exit, or if there is going to be some traffic with the circuit small as Brands Hatch. You could maybe say that it's going to be hard to find some clear air. It's so easy to find car anywhere around. We are looking on Marco Badowski in the Alpine. Currently leading Daniel Barnett in the Audi. And Audi, they could use a help in terms of a good finish. They are trying to keep the Chevrolet behind. But with the highest driver being Emma Plate and Daniel Barnett being in P8, even though after pit stops he should be in that 10th position probably. It's going to be a chance for them to pull away from Chevrolet, even though Christopher Streppen is in the lead of the race. It should be a small gain for the brand. But Barnett is closely behind Badowski of the Alpine. Maybe looking to find a way past. Materializing it, looking down inside the final corner. He was not close enough, and we have Aaron Eriday in the pit lane as well. So Alasdair Clinch decides to continue going around. And meanwhile, Radek Šula, let's see where he has emerged. He has a little bit of traffic, but it's a car that is slapped down, so he should be able to clear the BMW quite fast. And now interesting if Aaron Eriday can jump Radek Šula, but I don't think that should happen. See, look, Šula already in turn 1, and Eriday is just leaving the pit lane. So if I was Alasdair Clinch, I might be starting to get worried a little bit, as look how much time Eriday has lost. Back to Badowski and Barnett. Badowski lapping his Alpine teammate. Obviously, if it's your teammate, should be promptly out of the way. But Barnett not backing down. Still following in the slipstream of the French mark. Through the windshield of Marco Badowski. This is what Daniel Barnett sees, the French tricolora on the Alpine. But the Porsche not doing the best way of letting leaders by, just slowing on the inside of a corner is not the preferred way of letting someone by. Yeah, Barnett definitely lost a little bit of time in that. But I wouldn't be thinking about an early pit stop. There is just a few minutes, 5 minutes left in the pit window. And many cars have not stopped yet. So this will be important for the result of this race. But also important part will be James Lacey and Christopher Streppen. Not James Lacey and Emma Plate. Emma Plate has managed to find himself a little bit of traffic in front of an Aston Martin that he was trying to lap, but Emma Plate has found himself catching up to James Lacey. And we just one Porsche in between him and Lacey. This is a straight fight for second place. both of them are winners in the Constructors Championship. Emma played winning in the second round, and James Lacey winning in the Silverstone round. Both of them getting only one win, same as Christopher Streppen. Meanwhile, it's been Radek Šula winning all the season. That's what helped him get the almost 7 points lead over everyone. We have further cars coming to the pit lane, Chafer, Sieblom and Evgeny. In the pits, Sieblom did not expect him to pit now, but he's usually one of the last people to come into the pit lane. And let's look here, Martin Chafer going wheel to wheel with Aaron Eriday, so this was a big gain from the Maserati driver. He tries to hang it down inside into the hairpin, and he gets Aaron Eriday and moves himself up into P10. He goes wide on the exit of the corner. There is also a Maserati in the way, and oh, there's a little bit of contact between him and Aaron Eriday, and there's also Stepan Koutnik in the mix. And that was a really unfortunate situation for both of them. Let's look what has happened here. You see Aaron Eriday going around the outside. No move here. Then Chafer goes wide into the corner, and you can see another Maserati in the way, and oh, that's a missed braking point from Eriday. Oh yeah, and you can see he realizes that it was his mistake. And let's Chafer by, but that was a school error from him. Meanwhile, this is important. Alasdair Clinch in the pit lane, and you can see Radek Šula there behind him. And Clinch has managed to keep his position in the pit cycle. And now he has that little bit of gap, but he needs to warm up his tires as soon as possible. As going through the pit lane, the tires will be extremely cold. No, not extremely as if they were new, but there will be that coldness in them as the temperature would have dropped after the visit into the pit lane. And also our leader Christopher Streppen has visited pits, currently fell down to P4. And I think this lap we can expect James Lacey, played Mark Kubadowski, and basically everyone remaining in the pit lane. So our second and third position drivers keeping it with each other. And yeah, as they are fighting going on the entry to the pit lane. Look at that. I can see Lacey losing the car on the entry in the braking zone. It looks like that's a position gain for Emma Plate. Yeah, let's look at it. Emma Plate gets going, and James Lacey gets going as well. So it looks like Lacey has a much better stop. He must have probably taken a bit less fuel than Emma Plate. And that was a really big chance for Emma Plate, but probably the strategy comes into the play with him running maybe a bit less fuel. So that explains his speed. And by that, then he falls down a little bit from James Lacey, but maybe there is a speed in that Audi. He can close down on a Porsche soon. Phil Varley being our final pit stop for today, emerging out in P11. Now off to chase Jakub Terracino in the McLaren. And during the pit cycle, also Marco Badowski has managed to fall down behind Daniel Barnet. So he's now in P7. And all of a sudden this is starting to look much better for Audi, and you could say, a bit worse for Chevrolet, who are trying to chase down the third position in the championship, but with Verstappen being in lead, closest people are Claudio Allegria and Javier Eugeni in 15th and 16th. But despite P4 is still not slowing down. 17 minutes remaining and clinch, holding on as hard as he can to the 4th place. And Emma Plate is not far away from them. As there is a move from Radek line, he outbrakes himself, almost goes a little bit wide, almost hitting the lapped Porsche. There is a bit between them. And after clinch taps, the Mercedes of Schulan spins around. That was an unfortunate event. You could have seen all the aftermath of the incident, but clinch straightening out the steering wheel just a little bit too early, and that cost him really dearly. He falls down to P6 and position gain for Samuel Kruger, and now Shula has been unleashed. And the next target for him surely will be Emma Plate, who is what looks to be 4 or 5 seconds ahead. But there's still enough time for Shula to catch up to the Audi driver. Their contacts Martin Schaefer and Aaron Arriday still close together. Schaefer trying to catch up to the McLaren that is in front of him, being Jakub Tarantino. And also Marko Badowski in the Alpine looks to be slowly fading away. So this might be a 4-way fight for positions in the top 10. And there's also a direct fight between Maserati and McLaren, as both brands are really close to each other in the Constructors Championship. But looking at Marko Badowski, he has been losing a little bit of time over the course of the past 15 minutes. And is starting to come under the pressure of Tarantino, but he himself is starting to be under pressure from Martin Schaefer, who has the Aaron Arriday still behind, but does not look like Arriday, after the contact between them, is able to push the Maserati even a little bit more, as Schaefer a little bit sideways, a little bit of counter steering from him. Out of the final corner proves the Maserati being a bit of a handful for the drivers. Meanwhile, at the top, Christopher Streppen has lost a little bit from his lead. It's now 2.6 seconds to James Lacey, and hopefully Verstappen can keep the hold of this win this time. We saw him throwing away good positions at some points during the season, be it by running wide or just tapping someone into a spin, which definitely has cost him numerous points, and definitely would have been a much closer championship. And James Lacey is currently comfortably in P2 Emma Plate, not closing down on him rapidly. And so is Shula, the top 4 currently, or top 5. being really consistent and closely matched on pace, with the smallest gap still being between Lacey and Plate. And looking, Aaron Eriday has managed to make a mistake somewhere along the lap as he has lost a bunch of time to Martin Schaefer. You can see Schaefer being closer and closer to Jacob Tarantino, and also lapped car is now currently in front of everyone. And what is happening there? Schaefer got in across the turn one, and Marco Brodowski with a big mistake in turn one that allows Tarantino to slip by the Alpine. And oh, that looked like a little bit of contact between Schaefer and Badowski. Badowski having to defend into the left hand, and Schaefer might get a cutback on him with the BMW in front of his lapped car. Probably Schaefer will have to hold back and find a better place to get by. But Badowski ran wide by the looks of it in turn one. And Tarantino just managed to slip down the inside into the hairpin and got the position. And also we saw Schaefer just maybe locking the rear brakes and having to cut across the grass in turn one. Definitely hard enough moment for the Maserati driver, basically carrying the brand on himself. Let's see how much he's pushing onto that Alpine. Borowski definitely not having the grip and the speed. Speaking of which, Schaefer just whipping the back end of the Maserati on the exit of the corner. Now looks to the outside, but it's not a good opportunity for him. Now basically pushing Badowski on the exit of the corner. That surely must be quite scary to look back into your mirrors. You can just see how much bigger it looks compared to the Alpine. So the silhouette of the Italian is not gonna be pleasant for Badowski. He keeps hold of his position, but also Aaron Eriday is someone Schaefer will have to count into this equation, as there is a mistake from Badowski running wide, and this gives inside line to Schaefer. And neatly on the brakes. Nice move from Martin. Badowski immediately under pressure again. This time it's Aaron Eriday in the Mercedes. The outside line, something Shula was trying a few laps before in the first stint. Eriday managing to hold the car around the outside in the first part, but to the next corner, there's no way he's gonna keep it there, and promptly he has to slot behind Badowski. And now important, if Eriday can get by Badowski fast, if he can, there is still a chance to catch up to Schaefer and get past him for the top 10 position. But there is not much time remaining in the race for a move to happen. And with this track, you know, it's hard to overtake. There are not many opportunities. You can see Eriday just holding onto the inside line as much as he can, trying to gain those thousandths of a second by having a shorter line, but having to stick behind the Alpine. And there might be fight on our hands soon for the lead. As you can see, the lead has fallen down a little bit for Verstappen, currently in around 1.5 seconds, as it was 2.4 before, so maybe traffic being a talking point for our leader. It's this quite easy to lose time behind a slower car if they do not cooperate with you, but also if you are pushing them maybe a little bit too much in a hurry, trying to get by. On one hand we have here it's a couple of new names. Shognik Khatiri fighting off with Albert Ariona. Khatiri making a mistake on the exit, and Ariona Now around the outside of the Porsche, will the Alpine manage to hold this into this corner? It is really tough. Ariona keeping the wide line. Chateria has the inside also for the next corner. This will be really tough for the Alpine to go around. But if everything is cautious, oh, little bit of slide from Ariona, and you can see all of the cars behind. Being it also Clayton, who has managed to tag, who has been tagged by Aston Martin behind, probably Jakub Gratz. Yeah, Jakub Gratz it was. Don Clayton just closing the line, not aware that Aston Martin already was there and just latching onto the front end of the Aston, sending him into the wall. A really unfortunate moment for Clayton, but in the end he just managed to trip over another car. We saw Damien Wilk getting by his teammate Jakub Gratz as a result of that. And now we are looking on to a fight for second place. Emma Plate managed to close down James Lacey, probably also as a result of the traffic, and you can see Christopher Streppen already in the view. So all of a sudden these three are getting closer and closer to each other at the end of the race. You can see Emma Plate lapping another Audi teammate with relative ease, and now it's a straight up chase onto the Porsche. So let's stay this lap ahead on board with Emma Plate and see from his eyes. After a lap on board with the Audi, jumping to Martin Schaefer, who has come back under pressure from Marko Badowski. We saw Schaefer managing to get by the Alpine, but looks like the Maserati took toll on its tires with no ABS or traction control. Schaefer probably slowly starting to run out of tires. This allowed Badowski to close by, and Badowski took every day with himself onto this road trip. And Badowski getting closer and closer in the twisty section of the track. But the Maserati has legs on the Alpine on the start-finish straight. That is not so straight, but it is the start-finish straight. In just few laps remaining in this race, I think time is running short for Badowski. Will need to think of something really soon. Sliding a little bit through turn 1 might put him under pressure from Aaron Eriday. But the best way to convert the pressure from behind is turn it into a pressure up front. Yeah, okay, now in the slipstream. No way around down the inside, but maybe if he can unsettle Martin Schaefer through this set of corners, get a switchback line. But there was just not enough turning in the Alpine to do that in the right-hander there, as we saw. Badowski opting to just slot behind Martin Schaefer. But we have to jump into the lead because something's happening. Oh, there is our plate running wide through turn 1. I think there might have been something with Radek Shula as the gap suggested he was a bit closer. But our plate running really wide through turn 1. And that was a really big moment for him. Could have been much worse. He was probably trying to force James Lacey into a mistake. But now the pressuring one is Lacey, just 1.4 behind Christopher Streppen. The lead has slowly fallen down. But it's not far to the end. What seems to be the final lap of the race, it's going to be very tight on the timing. Yeah, I don't think Verstappen can get to the line in 10 seconds. But possibly it's going to be really close, but I think he has got it. 1. And time to perfection as the 0 comes down. Christopher Streppen wins the first race at Brands Hatch, his second win of the season. And it's going to be really happy for him. James Lacey finishing in second place, and you can see the little bit of celebration for him. Emma played in third place, and importantly, Radek Shula throwing the car into the wall after what has happened. Into the wall. But yeah, big gain of points for Christopher Streppen in the championship. Samuel Kruger coming home in P5. Alasdair Clinch in P6, but I see a penalty to his name. So that will be a drop down in the standings. Daniel Barnett coming home in P7 with Stepan Kotnik P8. Jakub Tarantino managing to come home in P9. And on the final lap, Marco Badowski has managed to pass Martin Schaefer to round out the top 10. But with the penalty for Clinch, there is a high chance that Martin Schaefer will make the top 10 in the end. Oof. So Verstappen, he managed to do it once. Can he get another race win? Really important with not much remaining in the championship. So you'll have a short break in between the races. A short break also for you to grab something to drink, something to eat, as we are not done. Our 20-minute sprint race coming up really soon. Welcome back after the break, ready for a short 20-minute sprint. As our second race of the evening. We can see now James Lacey on pole position with Christopher Verstappen on the front row with him. In the second row with Emil Plate and Alasdair Clinch, and then Radek Shula, Aaron Ariday, followed by Stepan Kotnik, Samuel Kruger, Martin Schaefer, and Alasdair Howell. Another new name for the Constructors Championship. So with minute 32 remaining till the start of the race, eyes will be on Christopher Verstappen. We saw him with the Chevrolet getting jumped numerous times on people, and probably what also happened at the start of the race one. If James Lacey will be able to do something different, probably it will take some preparation from him. Maybe a little bit also of just those mind games. So now who will get the second win? Verstappen getting his second just a few minutes ago, with his first win coming in round 7 of the championship. Right. Also, will James Lacey maybe getting his second win of the season, his first one being in the round 9, in the race just after the season break, so maybe a breath of fresh air. And also, how much can Radek Shula do from P5 on the grid? Managed to climb one spot before. Maybe a little bit more strategies we still have. That pit window in this race. Drivers are already rolling. And watch the lights. As the cars are moving and we are racing at Brands Hatch, looks like an even launch between the top two. Verstappen trying to hold it around the outside, goes really close with James Lacey, almost contact between the two drivers. But Verstappen managing to eke out in front of James Lacey. Alasdair Clinch managing to jump the Audis in front of him up into third place. And we can see a little bit of contact back between the Audi and Mercedes. Also, Aaron Ariday managing to get in front of Radek Shula, who has dropped down into P6. The contact probably was Samuel Kruger and looks to be Alasdair Howell. Now back in the grid, Martin Schaefer dropping 2 positions down currently into P12 and side by side with Marko Badowski, who we managed to not hold off in the previous race. Also, things going on in the background, looks like Claudio Allegra, and there is a contact and Martin Schaefer is spinning around. He took the Alpine of Badowski with himself and what looked to be another car. Let's look what has happened. Everything was fine going on to the straight. Going side by side with the Alpine. Maybe a snap of oversteer from Schaefer. Let's see what has happened. Oh, there was contact with the McLaren. So what looked to be McLaren of Jacob Tarantino and one of the Mercedes, probably Alasdair Howell as well. Oh, it wasn't Howell, it was maybe Kotnik. Yeah, he's in the red highlight Mercedes. So contact between Tarantino and Kotnik, it results in a spin and a hit into the wall from Martin Schaefer, who just had nowhere to go, had to tap on the brakes, and the cars behind could not react fast enough. You already have some cars in the pit lane. And Christopher Streppen, after the first lap, already a second ahead of James Lacey. Alasdair Clinch currently holding on to the third place with Emma Plate behind and Radek Shula again in the top 5. The pit window has opened and a much better run through the corners for Clinch, closing to the Porsche of James Lacey. With this race being so short, all gloves are off. It's fight. No, almost no rules fighting. It's who can take the biggest part of the circuit for themselves. Nobody opting for early pit stop, and rightfully so. We wouldn't probably want to drop down into the giant train of traffic that we can see behind. Already Emma Plate looking for a way past to the Aston Martin, but meanwhile Radek Shula has managed to slip down, stick his nose down inside of the Audi. He will now have the outside line, but it won't matter because he manages to squeeze Emma Plate wide and takes 4th position. Meanwhile, some cars already also going into the pits for strategical reasons and also repairs. It was Jacob Tarantino after the contact. We will have to get the car fixed, probably a slight amount of damage. Maybe not worth fixing in a race that is this short. But if you feel discomfort in a car, then definitely this option you should take if you feel like you can drive the car safely. Rather lose 10 seconds fixing than a minute spinning around. And Radek Shula is showing his speed, managed to get really close to Alasdair Clinch. So he was diving wide in the penultimate corner, and we saw this fight before. Shula managed to get by Aston Martin, so probably he will know how to get by for this race as well. Already Clinch defending into turn 1. Shula just showing the car in the mirrors. But Verstappen is not running away too fast. Also Lacey not being able to handle him really well. Not being given a little bit time to clinch, and already one of the McLarens being lapped after first laps. Probably also some collisions at the back. Oh, the back we have not seen. And Lacey already within a half a second of Christopher Streppen. He definitely wants to repay him back for the start. Oh, Radek Shula goes wide, and the McLaren probably Martin Hogan and Justin Burley probably running even wider in the corner, almost hitting the wall. Shula taking liberties with the curb, sliding the car a little bit on the exit. Won't lose too much time in these GT4s, probably as fast as going normal, but the tires will not like too much. Look at this. The top 6 this close. All of them trying to find a way past each other. Now Stefan Koenig from P8 goes into the pit lane and already on the attack, and James Lacey trying to find a way past Christopher Streppen. Verstappen closing the inside line for the hairpin, not giving his speed for free. And this will be tough times for Streppen. Mistakes are, I wouldn't say common, but they do tend to happen from time to time when under pressure. So if Lacey can just keep harassing the back of the Chevrolet, there might be an opportunity. on the back wing of Alasdair Lynch, the view he probably is used to at this point. One little moment from him on the exit would look to be a snap of oversteer. This gives opportunity to Shulak to go around the outside into turn 1. Not much of a fight remaining as Evgeny goes into the pit lane. But still Clinch following close, defending as hard as he can from Shula, who is really closely following. But also Emma Plate being someone they have to count with in the race. As more and more lapped cars are starting to get in the way. When sticking to the middle of the circuit, that does not leave Shula with much to do. We see a yellow flag currently in the location where the drivers are going towards, but the car has managed to clear from the track. And these guys not giving up, not giving even a centimeter to the track, using as much as there is available. You can see slightly better line from Shula out of the final corner again, but not close enough this time to have a sniff down inside. And the British fans will definitely be cheering on the Aston Martin. The British brand on the British soil definitely will be happy to see the car on the podium. But there's two German boys having something to say about this. On board from the Schula, I can see through his eyes how he drives the Mercedes and the view he has had through the entire half of the previous race and now as well. Oh, and that looked like a much better line through the corner, but with how the track is winding and pulling itself to the right, there was just no space for him to go. If there was a straight coming, surely that would have been an opportunity for Shula to get by. But with Brands Hatch being a really small and twisted track, that would have to be a much better line, much bigger mistake, as Shula goes into the pit lane, decides to go for the undercut. Ooh. Slightly on the entry, we saw that from James Lacey in race 1, almost losing in position. This maybe gives also a little bit of breathable air to Alasdair Clinch to maybe try and close down James Lacey. He's not far from him, but definitely now is the time where he can just calm down and keep driving, as Shula is coming out of the pit lane. And he's slotting in behind the Maserati of Martin Schaefer and in front of another Maserati of Gianni Lenz. And this might not be what Shula needs. He wanted to come out in clean air. And Schaefer, after the collision on the first lap, currently in P10, but probably still yet to pit. But this is a golden opportunity for Alasdair Clinch and also Emma Plate to just in some time, but Schaefer sensibly lets Shula by, does not want to fight the Mercedes because it's not a fight, he is fighting currently. Maybe a little bit more to gain from just sticking to the Mercedes and following in the slipstream. Further down the grid, the duo of Alasdair Howell and Jacob Tarantino. Tarantino being caught up in the fights or in the collisions on lap 1 having to check up and send him, and as a result being hit into the back by Schaefer, who could not just react fast enough for what was happening. But important things happening. Samuel Kruger is in the pit lane. You can see the service is done, rolling now out of the pits. And Shula comfortably in front of Kruger. And he's definitely pushing now as hard as he can. And with the top 4 looking like this, with quite a respectable gaps between all of them. It's now just a hot lapping session for them, thinking what can they do, what can they gain. As we saw a switch for a position between Martin Schaefer and Gianni Lenz. Let's see what has happened there. I may have set the replay back 2 minutes. So we are going to enjoy this on board with Martin Schaefer.
Second camera up on our leader sure he still has not come in pits yet. Oh, and it looks like Lacey may have gone off. He did.
Yeah, I've seen the times, the gaps just jumping around up and down. And as we go to the helicopter, you can see Gianni Lenz in the background having a moment of his own. Let's get to the moment that I was interested in, what has happened to Martin Schaefer. And no, just a better line from Gianni Lenz. Gets it down the inside of Schaefer. And carries on. James Lacey now fallen down into P4. That must have been a big mistake from him.
Christopher Strappen is in pit road.
Yeah, everybody is now in. Would expect James Lacey goes for another one. He should be able to do this as the lap times are around 1:32. So with minute and 47 remaining and he's already by turn 1. Should be good enough. But this will be the important part. Where is Alasdair Clinch going to be and where is Radek Shula? That is the question. Clinch going up the pit lane and Shula managing to get by the Aston Martin. So the undercut has worked for the Mercedes driver. And now the one that is under big pressure and will be is Christopher Strappen. As there will be no cars in between himself and the championship rival. James Lacey, after the mistake being in P4. We will again have the classic Verstappen-Shula fight for the win in the GT4 Constructors Championship. And Radek just showing his skill in the car, even though he managed to qualify down in P5. Just through good driving strategy and mainly because consistency and the mistakes of others, finds himself in what will be probably a net second place after Lacey goes into the pit lane. And now there is not much time left though, just 2 laps probably for Shula to gain. But yeah, we saw Verstappen doing weird things in the past that has lost him time. But there are no lapped cars in front of them for miles currently, so it would have to be a big driver error. James Lacey goes out of the pits, slows down into P5. No, P6. Samuel Kruger is already managed to get himself by, and also looks like Aaron Ariday and Stepan Kotnik, so it's down to P8 for Lacey. So a big loss for him. Now Samuel Kruger, we can see defending himself from Aaron Ariday, and also Stepan Kotnik is another Mercedes looming in the background. You can see Ariday in the slipstream, but not manages to get alongside of Samuel Kruger. And definitely will not get alongside in the next couple of corners unless Kruger makes a big mistake, and Ariday has a great run. The Mercedes is glued to the back of the Audi. Kruger definitely not having the easiest of time, as there is a Maserati in front of them, which is a lapped car. This will definitely not help the Audi driver. Maybe a little bit of slipstream will be there to find from the Maserati, as they all managed to navigate the car into the turn 1, as we are on the final lap, and the gap at the lead still at the same, well, now down to half a second between Verstappen and Schula. But with the track how this does not look to be an overtaking opportunity there for certain.
And I'm riding with Shula up here, chasing Verstappen.
But the gap has dropped down even more, down to 0.03, so this is going to be really close between these two. Can Schula steal another one out of nowhere? The time has expired this time a bit early in the lap, so we are certain this is the final one. And Schula really strong in the second part of this race. But I don't think he's close enough to try something wild into the final corner. Christopher Verstappen manages to hold on and makes it 2 from 2, a perfect, almost perfect weekend from Verstappen. There's another 5 points into his bank account, and finishes now confirmed ahead of Radek Šula. Alasdair Klinch in P3, a good result for him. Well played, and Samuel Kruger 4th and 5th, with Aaron Ariday coming home in 6th, Stepan Kotnik in P7, James Lacey in P8. He definitely would have hoped for more, starting on pole. Jakub Tarantino, after what has happened on lap 1, P9, quite a respectable result for the McLaren driver. And finishing our top 10, Daniel Barnett. These were quite intense finishes to these races, and both of them, Christopher Verstappen, being chased by other drivers. Let's have a talk with our race winner, Christopher Verstappen. Are you there, Christoph?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here.
Hello. A good weekend for me, managing to gain quite a big bunch of points on Radek Šula.
Yes, finally. I thought it was never going to happen.
Yeah. So it's 3 wins for you. Not all of them coming after starting from second place, if I'm correct. Looks like the second place is. Yeah, looks like the second place a good starting position for a Chevrolet.
Yeah, the car has good acceleration, so as long as I'm on the front row, I have a chance into turn 1.
Yeah, we saw it being really close with Lacey at the start of the second race, almost touching between both of you. That was probably quite a hairy moment.
Yeah, but those are the most beautiful moments of racing, I think. And there's almost no space in between.
So could we say the momentum is now with you, with Shula qualifying lower in the grid, finishing behind you in both of the races, in race 1 in P4? Is there possibly a chance from you to now put the pressure onto him as the championship leader?
There's always a chance, mate. But I'm gonna have to do the math how much points I gain now. But yeah, we'll see. I guess. Still, how many races left? 2 or 3? Anything is possible.
There are 2 racing weekends left, so 4 races in total.
I'd say
Anything
let's
is
do that.
possible. Yeah, nobody wants to have Shula just run away and be crowned champion with 2 races remaining, for sure. So yeah, I hope you can give us good entertainment for the remaining 2 events.
I'm sure gonna do my best, guys.
Yeah, I'll drop you down to the boys.
All right. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.
So you heard it from Shula. There is a chance, and I'm inviting you this way for another 2 events in a week's time. And if you enjoyed, you can find us on Racers Without Borders International, RWB International.club. Look at our Discord. We have events for all the skill sets, endurance races, championship events, or just fun nights when you just want to have a good laugh with everyone you are racing with. I was Racer Soul, and this was RWB International. Goodbye. Is he dead?